Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Well guys, it happened again. On Friday the 17th of May 2019, Massimiliano Allegri has been sacked of Juventus. Exactly 5 years later, again on a Friday the 17th of May 2024, Massimiliano Allegri has been dismissed again, and probably for the last time, dismissed from Juventus. A total different way than the end of Max 1.0. Yesterday, in a really long live, nearly 6 hours, we were following step by step, minute by minute, how we arrived to the official communication of Juventus. In today's video, we'll do a recap, answering the question of some Juventini: was it deserved in this way? Was it deserved and a correct choice of Juventus to anticipate sacking Allegri before the end of the season and then opening the door towards what will happen in the next few hours with Paolo Montero, that in the hours that will follow this video will be probably announced as a coach of Juventus until the end of the season, but also opening the door towards the next coach, Thiago Motta. Maximum of like if you didn't yet, please continue to support the channel by subscribing. Yesterday you were a lot of Juventini arriving here on the channel, probably for the first time. Thank you for that, but it's not over. We have a goal, 30,000 Juventini. It depends on you. So if you want to support me as a content creator, maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe and to comment, tell me what you think. Guys, we start with one image that should have been the last image of Massimiliano Allegri at Juventus. So Massimiliano Allegri sitting on a billboard, watching the tifosi and probably enjoying the Coppa Italia win. Unfortunately, this is not the last image of Max Allegri because it ended in an ugly way, a really ugly way, unfortunately, because a lot happened after that image that unfortunately can't be the last image and will not be the last image of Max Allegri with Juventus, Max Allegri 2.0. Allegri out. Il club lo scarica con freddezza. Allegri out. This is the title. This is probably the first time that I'm saying these words here on the channel because it's a reality. Allegri is out, but the club has dismissed him in a really cold way, which at the moment is a big controversy on social networks, the Telegram group, here on the channel. Was it really deserved, yes or not? Tuttosport is opening the page with Allegri is gone. It's over for Allegri, incompatible with the values of the club. So what is the club saying in that really cold official statement? Official: Massimiliano Allegri no longer Juventus coach. Juventus announced that it has relieved Massimiliano Allegri of his position as head coach of the men's first team. And then the most important one: the exoneration follows certain behaviors during and after the Coppa Italia final that the club deemed incompatible with the values of Juventus and the behavior that those who represent it should have. Speaking about when it started again, when it ended, also with the Coppa Italia final without a thank you for that Coppa Italia final won. The club wishes Massimiliano Allegri good luck in his future endeavors. Was it because of the behavior of Allegri against the referee? No. Was it only because of Massimiliano Allegri receiving that red card and going totally nuts, screaming towards Rocky, head of Aya, going in confrontation with the fourth man? Absolutely not. It's much more than that. That leads to a really cold announcement of Juventus. Much more than that. It's what followed next to that in the tunnels where he was waiting before coming back. It's especially what happened after in the post-game, where we all know in the press conference where there were some altercations with Guido Vassiago. Unfortunately, this is what happened, but it's even much more than that. It doesn't stop there. This is not only why, it's an accumulation of things for an entire season, but also what we saw on the field, what we saw with Cristiano Giuntoli at a certain moment where Max Allegri said, "You are not invited to celebrate with the players. I will celebrate with the players who deserve to win that Coppa Italia and to celebrate it." Big images, public images that the entire world saw. Yesterday, we saw a Massimiliano Allegri and a Guido Vassiago that needed only 5 minutes to make peace again, with Massimiliano Allegri taking the initiative to call the director of Tuttosport to ask him, "Can I come to your office?" Of course, invitation received and accepted by Guido Vassiago. They were there, they spoke to each other, and Guido is explaining us the mood of Max Allegri few hours before him being officially dismissed of Juventus. Someone that was regretting already what had been done and what he did on the 15th of May. After the win of the Coppa Italia, after the triple whistle. But someone even more than regretting, was really, really understanding, was conscious that what he did, it would cost him a lot. He knew, regretting, yes, but understanding, conscious that he would cost him a lot more than just being dismissed, because we already know it and we spoke about it since a lot of months. The end of Max Allegri was already written. At the end of the season 23-24. We all knew the end. We didn't know when and we didn't know how. Unfortunately, now we know when and unfortunately we know how. The end was already written and nothing could have changed that. Cristiano Giuntoli is a big actor. For what reason? You see it in the title of Gazzetta dello Sport, Comanda Giuntoli. It is Giuntoli that is the boss. And is this not something surprising? We go back and refer to the words of John Elkann, the owner of Juventus, that said, season 23-24 is year zero of Juventus, where Juventus is putting the fundamentals, the basement, to go back on and off the field. And in that letter, mentioning not Massimiliano Allegri, but mentioning Cristiano Giuntoli. And that's where I'm telling you that Cristiano Giuntoli is a big actor. Because when Cristiano Giuntoli came the first year, it was not to start the revolution at Juventus, but start studying what he could have put in that year one. That will be season 24-25. And we all understood quite quickly that it would have been without Massimiliano Allegri. This is a reality. Yes, of course, publicly spoke a lot of times well about Max Allegri, but we understand now that the relationship between Max and the sport director of Juventus was not ideal, was absolutely not ideal, going towards mercato choices, going towards some discussions, going towards also understanding that he would have been dismissed without Cristiano Giuntoli telling him clearly and in a transparent way, which at the moment Max Allegri is probably really pissed off about. If this is my destiny, at least tell me instead of doing things behind my back. Cristiano Giuntoli is a sporting director. This is his role, to work into the objectives that the club has given him. And what was the biggest objective? Cutting with the past. We have a new board of members, we have a new sporting management, we have probably new players from next season. There was a big intention of also cutting with the past, the Agnelli era, and one of the big trait d'union link between the past and what we were today was Max Allegri. So it was a fatality. It was a fatality, and the choice has already been made since really long. Gazzetta dello Sport is telling us, fuori Max Allegri, out. And now you have the players that are speaking. Of course, Rabiot and Danilo were not surprised that they would have been the first one to speak out. Rabiot is going with, you will be remembered as one of the most winning coaches of Juventus history. You deserved another end, a diverse and a different end. Thank you for all and good luck. Were the words of Adrien Rabiot, that is at the moment also the thought of a lot of Juventini. You deserved a different end. Even the Allegri out people, the people that wanted him out since really long, are asking themselves, after winning that Coppa, after everything that he did for Juve, Max Allegri 1.0, and also in the difficult times of Juventus in the Max Allegri 2.0, he deserved a different end. According to me, it was impossible to have a different end after the acts of Max Allegri on the field, which I told you in that dialogue with Guido Vassiago. He understood it immediately. The behavior of that game, 15th of May 2024, he understood especially that because of his acts, he would have been responsible for the following: not being able to receive a big applause or not in the last game against Monza in our stadium, in the Allianz Stadium. Danilo Capitano spoke as well, again, not a surprise, where he said in beautiful words, Max, you always told us that it made no sense to speak a lot because the facts count, not the words, but I wanted to write it on Instagram. Victories are always beautiful, but they don't always allow us to grow. While difficult moments, they are necessarily make us grow. And they also allow us to see what each other person has inside of them. That being said, the moment of difficulty over the last 3 years have been immense. And you and your entire staff have not given up or allow us to stop fighting for even one day. This lesson will stay with us forever, for football and for life. Beautiful message from Capitano Danilo, that is really explaining us that the big personalities of Juventus were really sticking with Juventus. And I told you, even if Rabiot and Danilo, it's not a surprise, these beautiful messages. Probably a surprise would have been for Timo Weah with a really beautiful message, especially the end where he's saying, thank you for believing in me and thank you for changing my life. I will forever be in debt with you. And then another surprising, one of the first one to wrote something about Max Allegri, especially if we know that he never really received a lot of chances, especially if we know how one of his performances he was subbed out after a mistake. It is Joseph Nonguet that said, two big men, referring to Allegri and Landucci, a lot of respect. What does that show us? That the team was really backing up the coach. All the things that we heard online that the team was not with Max, well, they were fake. And now we have the proof of it. Of course, one thing is sure, after everything what happened off the field, we understood that probably there was a confrontation between Max Allegri that was absolutely not aligned with the new management. Now we are opening a new door, the door of Paolo Montero. Paolo Montero that, as we speak, probably will be appointed head coach of Juventus for the next 2 games. This morning, he couldn't be announced. Why? Because he was waiting for the last game of Under-19 where he was banned. He will be the one, together with Padoin, together with Magnanelli, that were not that much Massimiliano Allegri men, but especially Juventus men. He will be there until the end of the season. With Magnanelli and Padoin, that have also the opportunity to even be there in the technical staff of Thiago Motta next season. Possibility, not a certainty. And that's where we are opening the door towards the next part. Thiago Motta at Juventus is a 99.99% done deal. The signatures are missing that could arrive after the celebration of the Champions League qualification from Bologna, after the 26th of May, what will be the end of the story Thiago Motta Bologna, opening a new era, Thiago Motta era with Juventus. My biggest wish, I said it multiple times, is that finally we can speak again about football. Finally we can speak again about victories. Finally we can focus on what is going well, what is going bad on the field, with tactics, with football, with whatever you want, but that we stop with hashtags. Hashtags Allegri out were too much this season. There was only one focal point and probably too much towards only one man, where we're not speaking that much about Juventus. It was really sad. And I don't like the Corriere dello Sport title with the big hashtag Tristi in. Instead of Allegri out, Allegri, we know it in Italian means the happy ones, they are going with the sad ones in. So from the happy ones out, Allegri out, they are going towards the sad ones in, Tristi in. I don't like this battle of hashtags. I really don't like it. My biggest wish is that we stop with this hashtag and we support one thing only, that is Juventus. We will discover all together and we'll be here on the channel commenting day by day, minute by minute, game by game, what is happening with a new Juventus. A new Juventus that decided, probably correctly, to turn the page, Massimiliano Allegri, and opening a new one. Hoping with all my heart, with all my black and white blood, that it's a beautiful chapter that we are starting today. Grazie, forza, Juve.